talk to you guys about today affects each and every one of us. And that's your 3 states of mind. But before we begin, I want to introduce you guys to one of my friends called public speaking. And I assume that most of you have encountered him. And some of you might hate him, some of you might not. But I hope by sharing a couple of fun facts about him, you guys will be able to learn a lot more about him. So, 1, around 75% of all people fear him. And why is that? Well, glossophobia, it's caused by your subconscious, but it's not that simple. It's actually very complex. It's more of a cycle of trauma. So we're all human, which means that we inevitably make mistakes. But then, it's all right. But our brain doesn't know that. It stores those negative memories. And they'll get ingrained into your subconscious. And the next time you're presenting or performing, you're going to have somebody in the back of your mind cheering at you. And you're not going to do as well as you could have. But then sometimes, maybe sometimes, you'll hear a small voice in your head. Maybe when the presentation's going well in the first 2 minutes, you'll hear a voice that says, "It's all right. I'm doing fine." And that's your superconscious. And that's not a permanent fix, but it does stop that cycle for a short while. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So everybody, and I mean everybody, has 3 deeply interconnected stages of mind. And those are your conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. And the first level is basically your conscious mind. So I like to call that the foundation, because it's very cognitive and logical, so it can make decisions, like for example, your yeses, your maybes, and even your no's. It makes all of them, but there's always a con. And in this case, it would be that it gets easily overwhelmed, like the guy behind me. And I'd be lying if I said that wasn't me, maybe the last day before school starts. And the feeling really sucks, which is where your subconscious comes in. It starts supporting the conscious. It says, "I am the support, and let me do some work." Because it runs autopilot. It's 95% of your mental capacity, I guess. And it stores each memory and belief and thought you've ever had. And that can be powerful, but also bad. And I'll talk more about that later. But it can also multitask. And the problem is, it's clouded from reality. And that can be from, I guess, negativity, or maybe even from your emotions. So for example, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad. Maybe it could go either way today. And that's why we shouldn't fully rely on our subconscious, because it gets influenced by your emotions. But that's where the problem is. Because also, you have your superconscious mind. It doesn't really do anything else, but it's that sparkle that makes something special. Because a building can stand with just its foundation and support, but it needs its sparkle, the design elements, to be memorable, to be substantial. And it's where all of your breakthroughs come from, your insights, and that thing that makes everything you do special and personalized. But some people ask me, "Kevin, I don't hear that voice. Are you lying to me?" And I'd say no, because you're not hearing it, because it's silent. It's not always silent, but whenever your conscious mind and subconscious minds are arguing, you get a hearing over all of that fighting. And I think I did a pretty good job at illustrating what happens. So here's the problem. Whenever you try to do something, your conscious mind says, "Let's do this my way and my way only, because I'm logical." But then your subconscious mind says, "Remember what happened last time? You're going to fail. So we shouldn't do anything at all." Because it's scared that it's going to repeat something bad again. And then your superconscious, it tries to tell them to calm down with a new idea. But then it gets blocked out by their fighting. But remember that time you aced a presentation? Think back. What really happened in my mind? Well, my conscious mind was saying, "Here's the structure, the script. the words that you're gonna have to say. And then my subconscious said, well, here's the talking, the hand gestures like the one I'm doing right now. That's all my subconscious. And then you get that. You get the superconscious, that special connection with the audience. Like maybe right now. Some of you are feeling it, some of you aren't, but I'm glad at least someone is. And that's much better, right? Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather pick the second option over the first option. But how do we do this? Well, I boiled it down to 3 simple things that you can do. So when you look at this, what do you see? You see self-love. And that's really important because when you tell yourself that I am brave, that I can do this, and personally my favorite one that says, I am capable of sharing my own ideas. When you say that every night, it reaffirms it over time and it drills it in. And as I say, repetition is key, because I have some of my subject teachers telling me that when I badger them every single day, they kind of know what I'm going to say. And that can be a good thing, because your subconscious mind, it's overly negative, but by doing this, you can make it more positive. But what else? People, all people, we need some time for ourselves. And that's also true for your minds. And especially in this fast-paced world, we really need some silence. So what I recommend is 5 minutes of active silence per day, which means no loud distractions, no phones, just sit there. Not even per day. You can just do this once a week. Because even though people say they don't have free time, I think deep down we all know that we do have some free time. At least 5 minutes per week. And this will really help, because what happens when you're calm? Your conscious mind says, wow, I am calm, and I can stop fighting, and I can rest. And then your superconscious says, I can speak. I can express my ideas. And that's good, right? But then what else do we need? Well, instead of just listening to one mind, we listen to all of them. So don't just listen to your conscious, or your superconscious, or maybe even your subconscious. Listen to all of them. Because they're all here for a reason. And even though it's better to pick one and follow it for like career paths or educational paths, it's really good to listen to all 3 of them. Because here's the thing, they each have their flaws, but each one of their abilities makes up for the other's flaws. So by asking and validating the trio, what you're doing is you're eliminating most of the flaws, if not all of them. And that can really help. And here's some things that you can think of your minds as. So your conscious mind, it can be like your compass. You can say, what direction do I go? Do I say yes? Do I say no? Do I say maybe? And then your subconscious mind, it can be, well, the memories, the good things, the things that I fight for. Why do I get up at 6 a.m. each morning to go to school? It's because I want to make the people I love proud, and I want to make those good and long-lasting memories with the people around me. And that's really good. And also, your superconscious, it can be like your guiding star. Because like stars, they're always there. Sometimes we don't notice them, sometimes we do. But when you try and slow down and try to listen to them, you will hear them, and they will guide you, trust me. So the main takeaway from this, in my opinion, is that first, validate the trio, ask all 3 minds. And second, all right, ask yourself, what do I want to do? And also, give yourself 5 minutes of silence per week. It really helps, trust me. I'm not just saying anything random, because these are things that I did 2 months prior to this speech. And I'm sure as a lot of my peers and teachers have noticed, I have been a lot less, well, loud in class, hopefully. Yeah. And that's great. So thank you all for listening and watching.